duplicate my video from my other channel, Derek Manus, and I'm going to make that video tonight for you. And the title of that video is, what do you want to be when you grow up? My answer is, and to this very moment, I don't know. I never knew. I didn't know when I was young. I don't know now. I just found things to do. But before we get into that, I would like to mention ASMR Medic. He started his channel about a year before I did, but he is one of my subscribers. And if you're younger and you like video games, he's got a really cool channel. I think you'd like it. He's got a lot of subscribers, so he's doing really good. And he mentioned me on his video. I wanted to say mention him as well. Thank you, ASMR Medic, and I hope you guys will check him out. Also, I wanted to mention the 4 ASMR artists that started their channel while they were subscribers of mine, and that is Drake ASMR, Aiden ASMR, Maya Kwai ASMR, and ASMR Emily, ASMR.Emily. It's challenging to find her. There's so many ASMR Emilys. I wish she would get I hate to have her change her name, but she might need to. Anyway, they all 4 started their channel about the same time, but Drake ASMR is in the lead, and Aiden ASMR started out super good, and so did Maya Kwai. She started out, she probably started out the fastest, but she stopped posting for a little bit, and Drake was able to pass her. So I think maybe what I'll do is in 1 year, and you guys will need to help me. Today is September 15th. My birthday is September 17th, so Sunday I will be 51. But this will be easy to remember. So let's just say on my next birthday, I'm going to give $500 to whoever has the highest subscriber count. So hold me to it. Back to the video. So yeah, what do you guys want to be when you grow up? Do you know? Because when I was young, like a kid, I would tell my parents I wanted to be a doctor because I knew that's what my mom wanted to hear. And I didn't really know. I didn't have anything in my heart that was telling me this is what I wanted to do. So I just said it because I knew that's what she was hoping I would say. And I just kept saying it when I was young. And right when I got out of high school, I did go to college intending to be like a pre-med student. But I decided very quickly that that wasn't going to work. And that's not what I wanted to do. And so I just started working, and I just picked basically anything I could find. It's kind of how it happened. First was fast food, and then was carpet cleaning, and that turned into janitorial, and janitorial / carpet cleaning / janitorial sales. That company was evolving into all sorts of different business models. But then I went to work at a factory, but all of those jobs were hourly, and every time I would work, it would be I think when I was last making hourly rate, it was 92 or 93, 94, somewhere in that time period, and I was probably making $12 or $13 an hour. So as I would work, I would watch the clock, and I would be 12, 24, 36, 48, and you could just do the math of how much money you were making, but you could also just say, okay, I know there's no overtime this week, so I can only work 40 hours this week. And so at $12 an hour, here's how much I'm going to make, $480. I'm going to bring home $360 after taxes, and that's what I'm going to have to live off of. And there was nothing else, And so it became not enough really quick, and I realized it. And so I thought, well, what can I do? And the only thing I could think of, because I still couldn't think of what I wanted to do, so I just thought, well, what can I do to make money? What am I capable of doing to make money that's not limited by an hourly rate, that I can work harder and make more? What kind of company will let me work as much as I want, pretty much, so I can just sit around and try to figure it out. There's not enough time, and I don't think you'll ever figure it out. If it doesn't just come to you, what you want to be, then I think you'll be like me. You'll likely never know. I think when I was really, really young, I had those probably like every young kid, or we want to be movie stars or rock stars. I never really was good at sports, I was good, but I was always super small, so I never got picked for teams and stuff. But I was athletic, but just a small guy. I was a late bloomer, so I was always the smallest kid in my class. But luckily I did grow after puberty, but you just have to pick some sort of work. It's just something you have to do. And I think once you pick something, you can then improve. Once you have work history, you can jump to something better. You can use every career as a stepping board to the next one. Unless someday you do have that epiphany that this is what I want to do. As a manager, in my last career before I started selling real estate, I would ask people, if you knew for certain you would not fail, what would you do? And it would be interesting to hear what people would say, because then, you would basically be like, well, why aren't you doing that? Because some of them were really possible things. Some seem impossible. Like if somebody said I would be an NFL player and they were, 5'8" and 150 pounds, I would be like, yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen. So I'm like, that's interesting. That would be my response, because in my mind I'm like, well, I can't tell this guy, you should really go try it. I bet you could do it. Because it's not realistic. But most of us, I think, if we answered that question honestly, a lot of us could accomplish that. If I could, my answer would be that I would write screenplays and make movies. That's what I would do. And it would be really interesting. There's just a couple of things in my mind that I think would be fascinating movies, and I just never really, and I've always thought maybe I could do it, but I just never have taken the time to do it. I think I've always just found distractions and reasons not to, and I think because it's such a long shot to be able to write something and get a producer to want to pick it up, or to try to self-produce a movie is a monumental task. So my goal is really it's not high probability that of success for all the screenplays out there that are on paper and not on film. You could light the world on fire with all that paper. So mine is a long shot, kind of like trying to be a rock star or a movie star. So that question sometimes, if you answer it, because again, when you take away the possibility of failure, a lot more possibilities come into mind, because I think we do doubt ourselves a lot. I obviously doubt myself because I'm capable of writing, and I do have some extra free time. So why don't I do it? Why don't I just sit down and start? Just turn on the computer and start typing, and give it a shot and try it. I think that's what we should all do. We should all try to do the things we really wished we could do if we weren't afraid of failing. But if we don't, if we choose to not, like I have to choose to keep that little, and it's like a little ember fire burning in the back of my skull all the time. It's back there. I know it's there, that I know. I would not fail. And I knew if I just sat down right now and started typing, that I could write this magnificent screenplay that would bring emotion out in people and move them in such a way that it made them better people. I would do it. If it would help the world in some way, I would do it, you see. But in my mind, I have that thing that's telling me, it's not likely, Derek, so focus your time somewhere else, more productive, and that's what I've done. So in spite of not following my dreams, I've made a pretty good life for myself by just committing to working and trying to be smart about what I did for work. I had to actually somewhat enjoy it, and I had to do a lot of it. So you have to find some, and I was good at it, so you have to find something that you can at least endure that's not like pure misery, because most jobs are, and that's why they pay us, right? If it wasn't hard, people would volunteer to do it. But because it's hard, and because that's why we get paid, because it's things that need to be done that nobody will do for free. That's what jobs are. So having that expectation is very important, but just doing it, just being disciplined, getting up every day when that alarm goes off and going in at the right time and staying and doing a good job and doing what you're getting paid to do, being respectful to your fellow person, and that's just all life is. And then you do it like hell. You work like hell. You knock it out. I did another video called 60,000 Hours. It was doing the math at doing 40-hour work weeks for 50 weeks a year. That assumes you take 2 weeks off for vacation. 50 weeks, 40 hours. That's 2,000 hours a year. Times 30 years, that's 60,000 hours. So I think that's what most pension jobs do, where then after that you get paid for the rest of your life. That's like if you work for the government or you're in the military, they'll even do it at 20 years, but the pension is not that great. But at 30 years, it's good. So if you do 30 years in a job, the key is that you work 60,000 hours, whether it takes you 30 years or whether it takes you 10. See? It's possible. Now, maybe 10 might be a stretch, but 12 for sure is possible. 15 is definitely possible. 20 is definitely possible. So you can knock those 60,000 hours out. And if you do the right things with your money, you are guaranteed to be in a great place. So that's why I just feel like what I've done is, I don't have supercars, I don't have jets, but I have found a way to work with the system, to use it to your advantage, and not have a life of excess, but have a really good life, a comfortable life with a nice place to live, with a decent car to drive, with animals, and being able to eat healthy food and afford it, and afford to have air conditioning and light and a few little toys like laptops and buy vitamins. I mean, just have a good life. And I think that's, if we all did that and we all strive for that, we would live in a better place. Now, I'm not envious or upset with the people that have the nicer things, that there's people out there that fly around on jets like Elon Musk. He can't fly commercial. Donald Trump, he can't fly commercial. What would they do? They'd get attacked on planes, Plus, they're just going anywhere and everywhere. I mean, doing business all over the world. I get that people in those jobs, they need it. And I'm glad that people like that exist, that they should get paid crazy amounts of money for never being at home and always, having to be, they probably work 100 hours a week. make that kind of money. So they, again, and they're giving all, and they do it till they're old men, like Trump. And I'm like, why do these old guys? It's like all these old politicians. It's like, why? It's just like they're addicted to the power, I believe. Like Biden and both sides, Mitch McConnell. They're just all old, and like, I'm tired of being ruled by the elderly. Like, I get like respecting our elders. I do. I respect old people for the life that they lived and that they've made it. But there's a point that you gotta walk away and give that job to a younger person. I mean, 80 years old, for God's sakes, it's too old. Let somebody else have the job. Go ahead, enjoy some of your life before you're in the dirt, dude. It's like Dianne Feinstein. I mean, some of these people cannot even function, and people vote for them. I just saw that Nancy Pelosi's going to run again. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm not being political. This is both sides. This has nothing to do with politics. Both sides have plenty of candidates that are truly elderly. I mean, if you are capable of receiving Social Security, I'm sorry, get out. And I think the reason that our founding fathers never put term limits in there is because back then it was like a job to do it. The people had to walk away from their fortunes to go serve their 4 years, and if the people were lucky and they could beg the person to please stay another 4, maybe they would do 8 years, but no one wanted to do anymore. They had to get back and run their companies. They took massive financial sacrifices, our founders did, in order to work in those positions. Benjamin Franklin said that these better never become positions of wealth. He warned about it, and that's what's happened. They've become powerful, wealthy positions, even though the salary doesn't pay them that much. The additional monies they can make, the stock trades they can make, because they know what's coming and what rules are going to be passed. You can just watch their trading history and see that they know things that other people do not know. It's just gotten really corrupt. The system is really messed up. So, but even through all of that, there is still a way to, within that system, there's still a way to beat it and find a good life. And so long as right now there's food in the grocery stores and the electricity works and the water works, as long as we have that, we're going to be able to survive, and there'll always be people making it. It's just, you got to determine what you want. And please don't put on your list that you want to be an elderly politician. If you want to be a politician, get it done. I think like definitely 30s, 40s, 50s, that's really a good age of people. It's an adult. They have families. They're in a very mature position. They shouldn't be at that age struggling for money. Maybe at least 40s and 50s, maybe 30s, still a little challenging financially, but yeah, I don't know. But sorry, I don't even know how I got onto the political thing. I think I just mentioned somebody being old, but maybe you want to be a politician. Maybe the answer is, if you could do anything and you knew you wouldn't fail, you would be the president, or you would be a senator or something like that. I mean, I don't know. Some of you may want something like that. I don't know. What do you want? What do you want? And if you can't, what do you want? Do it. What do you want? Answer the question. You answered now. Why don't you do it? Yeah. If you say, I don't know, Derek, like you, I don't know, well then, I'm telling you, find something. You have to do something, and you have to do it like hell. You have to go hard. Truly. You have to be very careful. You can't get DUIs. You have to be diligent. That's another thing about staying at work. It's hard to get in trouble when you're at work making money, and it's hard to spend it when you're at work. So it's, if you think again about being born and dying when you're 100 and saying, okay, this is the area I gotta work like hell. It's a small commitment to make, to have that big life life left to live. You know, I could have done it even earlier, but I made a lot of dumb moves in my 20s. You know, getting into debt was a bad decision, and it took me a lot of years to get out of debt, and so I got behind because I didn't want to start really saving till I could get rid of debt, because debt was debt plus interest instead of savings plus interest. Maybe I did a little bit of savings like the 401k I would have done, but I didn't have additional money to save because I was throwing money at debt. I didn't get out of debt till I was in my 30s, and then all throughout my 40s, basically all my money I began to pile up, and so I was saving probably from late 20s in like a 401k all the way through my 30s. And then once I got in my 40s, then not only did I have my investments like my 401k, my paychecks began to pile up, and I used that money and piled it up and put it in other investments like Bitcoin and things like that. Speaking of Bitcoin, I heard a question the other day, and it was, if you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give it 3 words, what would you give it? And I think I said to myself, my answer was Bitcoin, Apple, Amazon. And because if I knew that if you could have bought these things when they were nothing, I would have billions of dollars. I would cure all the world's problems, because instead of spending my money on rocket companies like Elon, I would just help everybody. There would not be one animal shelter that needed money, that's for sure. But it's not what happened, and but it does tell you though. So like if I could go back and tell myself that, imagine what are the things you could buy today that you know that in 10 years you'll be like, oh my God, I cannot believe. I do believe Bitcoin is one of those things. I do. I really believe that it was the best performing asset since 2008. I mean, it was nothing outperformed it. So, I don't know. I think that might be something to consider. But will there be another Amazon or Apple? I don't know. AI is going to probably bring some sort of new company, and companies now will just like pop on the scene because AI is going to make everything so much faster. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic. Sorry, let me check the time. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I was at least at 20 minutes, so I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. One thing I did also want to mention is that I make the other video first, but you get a better edition because I get to hone the message, because I get to repeat it first. So maybe if I do this, I don't want you feeling upset that the information's old, because I do that other channel first, because I really believe that having it second is best, because one, I give you double the content. That's a 10-minute video. This is a 23-minute video. So you get deeper content, and also because I've already said it one time, it, I think, can be, I can expand a little bit more on it. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.